views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hey there, it is time for the Bronx Buzz. This is the program where we take a look at journalists, photographers, sometimes videographers, people who are in the media in the Bronx, and kind of give you a little background as to who they are, what they're thinking about, and give you insight into what you're seeing. Because you look at it and you say, oh, I saw that guy on the Bronx Buzz, or woman, of course, and then you get an idea. So tonight we have two different segments. One segment we're going to talk about a real estate writer from The Real Deal who does a fantastic job covering what's going on in real estate in the Bronx, and of course that's a major topic. And our second segment, we are going to talk about the Bronx Night Market, which I personally couldn't be more excited about. We're going to talk to Edible Bronx, who puts out that wonderful publication, and also Blocks TV, which is really doing the marketing and everything else great for the Bronx Night Market. But first, my buddy Eddie Small, welcome back to the Bronx Buzz.
Good to see you. Thanks
for
having me back.
Nice to have you. You wrote the article that I think is the only one that's been written about, Brookfield Management. Now, this was a deal that Somerset Partners with a Chatreet Group had the property in the southernmost part of the southwest Bronx.
Yep.
And I mean, I don't want to go into some of the controversies. It seems to me that's old news. And things were just going along. And then, to me, it was a surprise. We can talk about how it came to you. All of a sudden, they flipped the property, in essence, and it was a $168 million deal. That's a pretty good flip. And they sold it to Brookfield Properties. So the first thing I'm going to ask you about, were you surprised when that very large, high-profile property in the southern part of Mott Haven was sold from one to the other?
Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that I just have interviewed Keith Rubenstein in Somerset a lot over the years, and he always seemed very, passionate about this project and this neighborhood in particular. So I was a little surprised that they decided to sell it. But having said that, he is still, working a lot in the South Bronx, and said he still believes in the neighborhood, still has a lot of businesses
and
there.
Listen, you can make that kind of a deal.
Yeah.
I think you would, any one of us would have.
And then we spoke. His partner, the Chatreet Group. We wrote a follow-up story after the sale. And I guess it's not that unusual for them, just as a company, to make these initial investments and then sell before the project comes to fruition.
And you give them credit because they developed the concept. They dealt with a lot of the community issues. I mean, I know that Mr. Rubenstein was on Bronx Talk after some of the controversy, and he was right up front about it. So that takes, in a way, a lot of the heat. It's almost like he, in essence, got paid to do that work and then develop it so that the property could be dealt with. Let's talk about Brookfield in a small way, just about who they are, but then ultimately we're going to talk about, because you did a story about the biggest developers in the city, and they are on that list. Talk to me about what you see as their plans for this rather large parcel. I was just looking for the size of it. It's a pretty good. I think they're talking about 1,300 residential units. So,
across. Yeah, so it's going to be about 1,300 across, I believe, 7 buildings. And that is still basically the same plan that Somerset and Chatreet had. And they're still planning to do the waterfront access and the public waterfront pathway for just residents of the neighborhood.
I think that was a very important component for the people of the Bronx.
The only major difference that I noticed between what they want to do and what Chatreet and Somerset were planning, Brookfield's going to do 30% affordable units. Somerset and Chatreet had planned to do an entirely market rate project.
Market rate, yeah.
So it'll still be obviously majority market rate with Brookfield in charge, but there is going to be roughly a third of it now.
So 30% of 1,300. That's off the top of my head, what, 25.
Somewhere around there.
Something like that.
I haven't taken a math class in a long time. But.
And of course, everybody uses the word affordable, and the question is how affordable. I mean, do you have a sense yet? I haven't seen any numbers.
Not yet. Yeah, I'm not sure what AMI levels they're going to be targeting. As of now, I just know it'll be 70-30 split market rate affordable in terms of specific income levels or specific groups of people that they might target.
That's
I'm
still
not sure
out
yet.
there.
Yeah.
I'm guessing now. I know there's always reactions in a way. It's been a volatile parcel of land because it's so high profile, and there were, I think, some errors made along the way. But ultimately, I think the community can benefit with waterfront access and things like that. And I guess the community will really benefit if really Bronx people can get some of those apartments. It'd be nice if, along with the 30%, it was said that Bronx residents get some sort of
priority
in the access to that those properties. Did you talk to them for this article, Brookfield? Did you get a sense of their attitude toward the whole project? I'm just going to posit that they understand what needs to be done promotion-wise and in some level market-wise to appeal to the people of the Bronx.
I know they're excited about this neighborhood. They've been buying a lot in New York lately, and this is their first project in the Bronx, and they just seem very excited about the neighborhood itself and sort of the opportunity that it represents. It's really a one-of-a-kind project.
Yeah, there's no other spot
like
that
nothing
in the
really
Bronx.
Approaches it in terms of size and scale, and I know from going to some events in the borough, a lot of other people in the real estate industry are keeping a very close eye on this.
And I have to add, of course, access to traffic, proximity to Manhattan. I mean, all that stuff comes to play, and there is a funkiness to that neighborhood, an increasing funkiness, so to speak, because there's a lot of stuff going on. I know that Mr. Rubenstein would be thrilled if we mentioned Mutt Haven, which is the dog park he put down, and so that was in a way a parting gift. Although, as you said, he still has some of the properties down there. You did this story, so now let's make the segue on who owns all of New York, and I'm just going to go in there, and there are not a lot of companies with Bronx interests, but Brookfield was listed at number 8. Related, which certainly has a number of Bronx properties, is number 6. They have the Bronx Terminal Market, et cetera, et cetera. Just give me an overview of what you saw, the types of, obviously they're large companies, but just give me some theme or something that binds all these companies.
I think the first big exception you have to make is for New York City. That was number 1 by an incredibly wide margin, obviously.
Oh, the city the actual city of New York.
Yeah, the actual city of New York,
right,
not
so
surprisingly.
They have, the New York City government, I'm looking at the list here. It is number 1. They're all, by the way, in the Real Deal, realdeal.com, right? You can get all that stuff. So go ahead. So number 1 is by far, they have 362 million square feet. And number 2 is Vornado Realty, and they have 29.7. So yes, the biggest realtor in the city is the city.
The city itself. It was a pretty healthy mix after that of just sort of more, firms with institutional backing, then some of the more well-known family firms, and some real estate investment trusts. Those are the big 3, and then I believe also Columbia and NYU.
That was exactly what I was going to bring up. How fascinating that 2 large universities are listed under the large property owners. New York Presbyterian Hospital and Mount Sinai were 2 hospitals listed out of the top 20 as well. Where in the Bronx, I mean, it would be interesting to break these down by Bronx properties. How many of these huge real estate companies own properties in the Bronx? Any, or a lot, or a few, or?
It's a few. I mean, most of them have the giant flagship buildings in Manhattan, and that's where they sort of build up the square foot numbers and the property numbers. I think the ones you mentioned are the ones that stood out to me as well as related in Brookfield.
I've already had it.
Yeah.
You must have enjoyed doing this. I mean,
Yeah,
this
it
must have been like
fascinating.
do a study of New York real estate. It must have been fascinating.
And I'll give a shout out to the data team we have at The Real Deal, who did a fantastic job just putting all the numbers together and figuring out how to be accurate with a massive undertaking like this. So
I want
really
to also mention a story that you did about a week ago about a supportive housing nonprofit planning a 108-unit building in the Bronx over there on East 203rd Street, standing 13 stories tall. There is this trend that if you are going to build, whether it be affordable or supportive, to me it doesn't even matter. You've got to have community services, whether they cross the border to be supportive services for people, whether they have accessibility needs or seniors. Seems to me you can't build a property in the Bronx now, certainly for a lower or middle class people, middle income people, unless you put in these kinds of infrastructures.
It does seem like a lot of the projects we write about for the borough, they at least have an element of either affordable or supportive housing. We just did a feature recently on the Jerome Avenue rezoning, and the projects that have come up there so far are all
They all
affordable.
include something of that nature for the community. You mentioned it before we go. Talk to me about that. I only saw one Peter Fine building that was planned. I don't know if you did that story or somebody else did.
Yeah, Peter Fine.
Right.
And then, the other ones that we're aware of, it's Mad Equities and Joy Construction are planning 2 affordable housing buildings pretty close to Yankee Stadium along River Avenue.
And again, of course, the question is going to come down affordable for who, and we hope that Bronxites will get get priority, and because you bring people from elsewhere, then you haven't really solved a lot of problems. You might even be creating more problems. Yeah. Anything in the pipeline that you want to mention that we didn't ask you about? Or anything that you're allowed to mention?
Yeah, no, I think we covered most of the big stuff I've been doing.
Eddie, it's great, and really congratulations on the Brookfield article, because this answered or began to answer some questions. There are many other questions to be asked, but at least there seems to be an attitude towards saying, well, we're in the Bronx, we want to see if we can get Bronx people to be part of it. That to me is encouraging. And you did it first. Good job.
Thanks.
All right, Eddie Small, he is the real deal. That was a pun, right?
Very fun.
And
Very
we'll
good.
be right back. We'll switch gears, switch hats, and we will talk about the incredible Bronx Night Market, which is coming up once again on September 29th. Don't go away.
Sure, I look cute now, but when my owner lost his job, it was rough. I was living on the street, and one night, me and this Cocker Spaniel got into it so bad, I wound up looking like an ice cream cone. I cried a little bit, but thankfully I got rescued, so I'm running, I'm jumping, all back to my old self. And I'm ready to give unconditional love, even if you put a lampshade on my head.
It's not always easy being a dad.
Do you have panda asthma too? Does that run in the family?
This is the home of the most priceless kung fu artifacts.
But when you make an effort,
Dad, we're not supposed to touch anything.
Oh, sorry. Go along, son!
it's always worth it.
Whoa!
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
I am gonna get you. I'm gonna get you.
Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov to learn more.
You know what, guys? There's a lot of tree branches and dry brush over here. We should probably move the bonfire over there.
I'm guessing Smokey liked that idea.
Hey, it's Ava, and this is Tess from Vivo's Do It Yourselfie, where we recreate the hottest looks from today's biggest music videos.
After cleaning out our closet, we have a lot of clothes we don't wear anymore.
Like this old t-shirt.
It's not garbage, it's actually a brand new rug.
And to make it, all you need to do is cut, tie, and glue.
Cut the t-shirt into strips.
Tie the strips into knots.
And glue the knots to the bath mat. I love it. Give your garbage another life.
And recycle.
Okay, back with you on the Bronx Buzz. I'm really looking forward to this segment because personally, I am so excited about the Bronx Night Market. It is a revelation. It is the most, and I am as Bronx as anybody. The Bronx Night Market is the most Bronx you can get. Marco Shalma from BLOXNYC is here. Nice to have you with us.
Nice to be here.
And on the telephone from Edible Bronx is my buddy Amanda Celestino. Hi, Amanda. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Amanda, I'm going to actually start with you. I want to just talk about food in the Bronx and what the Bronx Night Market provides that people who make food, people interested in culinary in the Bronx have never had before.
Sure. Well, I think oftentimes we don't really, or outside of the Bronx, people don't realize how diverse the food culture is here. And that's one of the things we wanted to highlight with the Bronx Night Market is you can really travel the world through food in the borough. Mm-hmm. And that's something we're excited to showcase.
What I love, because a lot of us attend different food fairs and all, you know,
Mm-hmm.
all different kinds of things. This is not, you know, for people who think, oh yeah, just another street fair. This is like really good food. What do restaurateurs say about the Bronx Night Market and the opportunity they get to provide or show off their wares, so to speak?
Sure. Well, that's something Marco and I have been really proud of is that, you know, all of our vendors are handpicked. They're entrepreneurs, they're chefs, and they're really showcasing a high level of cuisine and food and skill. And everyone who's participated in the night market has been appreciative of the experience and also just had a really great time and has been able to grow their business and reach more people, which is what excites them the most, I think, is showcasing their goods to a huge audience of people who appreciate and love good food.
You know, I don't want to shout out anybody unnecessarily, so I'm not going to name one or two, but I have heard from a couple of those vendors who have been part of the night market that they are actually going to be moving to brick and mortar as opposed to, you know, cooking the cupcakes out of their apartments because they got all this exposure at the night market. They got to measure, you know, what people like. They made a couple of dollars, and so they could see the value of getting it. To me, that is win, 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 win in the borough of the Bronx.
Absolutely, and that's one of the things I think that other than just creating a great experience for people, we wanted to create a platform for entrepreneurs and young business owners to kind of jumpstart their careers as well.
Amanda, thank you very much. When I was a younger man, there was a TV show called Terry Toon's Circus, and the guy on the TV show, I don't know if you remember it, was the ringmaster. And I am sitting in the room with the ringmaster for the Bronx Night Market, and it is my buddy Marco Shalma. You have had, it was Blocks TV, now it's Blocks NYC. This really, to me, for having watched you since you came to the Bronx, and is like exactly what you existed to do, right? Talk to me about Blocks NYC and
Sure.
what you have done.
Before I say anything, just you know, right after Young People, I can't come over here empty-handed.
Can we get Marco on the screen here?
I want to show you. I gave you a little present.
Right.
Which
there
one
we go. That's
there
what
we go.
we haven't gotten them on
That's
the
the camera, right?
Wait, so I'm getting a T-shirt?
So you're getting a T-shirt,
All right.
you know, so you can rep the Bronx Night Market just like you like.
All right, so I'm going to do that while we're doing the show, but tell me a little bit about for you and what your vision of coming to the Bronx. I'm going to be wearing this. My audio guy is going to be really upset because I'm going to. But tell me what it means to you. This is it, right? This is great.
I mean, it was, you know, Amanda and I have been talking about it for, you know, last year, early on in the year, you know, and we actually wanted to go ahead and do that in 2017, but we felt like it wasn't really ready yet. You know, 2018 came along, and with partners like the Ford and Bid, doing it in the Fordham Plaza, which is a central area that we can kind of bring a lot of people. We really wanted to do that. You know, everything that we do is about giving light to entrepreneurs, Bronx entrepreneurs, whether it's like by food, merch, art, music, and there's no better way to do that than, you know, as a collective like that. Bringing 40 different vendors, 85% of them are from the Bronx, musicians from the Bronx, all coming together to create like a vibe and an atmosphere that's, you know, a lot of people say that they've never experienced in this borough.
There's no question that they say they. See, I couldn't even measure if I got it on straight. I think I did. And I hope I didn't mess up. All the audio people are going nuts. He's screwing up the microphone. In terms of just as an event, I mean, and you know how I felt because I've been at all of them. We should mention there were 5. There were 3 already.
Yeah, and 2
right?
more.
There was one in June, July, and August. There's
Yep.
one coming up September 29th, 4 p.m. through 9 p.m.
5 p.m.
5 p.m.
Yeah.
through 9 p.m. And I'm going to give everybody a hint. Get there on the earlier side. The lines are shorter, and then you can stay longer. To me, it says Bronx. It's our food, it's our music, it's our culture, and everything else. The vibe is amazing. What do you think contributes to that vibe? And maybe Amanda wants to weigh in too, but what is it that makes it so much fun and so relaxed and just what you want to be and who you want to be in the Bronx? I'm sorry, I'm too enthusiastic.
I know you are. You really are. And you've been one of our great supporters, so I appreciate that. I think the community has been longing for something like that, something that kind of bring us together, something that can showcase like our spirit, you know, like our food, in a way that kind of represents who we are, and without having to go to different boroughs to kind of do that, you know. I think that's what, you know, the sense of exclusiveness and the ability to kind of be so close to it, so close to home, but something so universal, so global. I think that's what really attracted Bronx.
The thing has been, I don't want to say sold out because people just show up, but it has been incredibly well attended. I mean, more so than I thought. I figured you get a couple 100 people, you start, but you've had thousands of people.
Yeah.
And if you walk through, it's a total delight. What do you think people are responding to? And even from a marketing point, because you did a lot of and do a lot of the marketing, what really has made it work that attracted so many people?
I think we made a clear message. You know, the branding is on point. I think we made a clear message from the beginning. We kept it very clean, very strict, and then we can't, you know, we lived up for the expectation. So basically, you know, the entire hype that we created leading to the first event was like magnificent. Everybody, the entire community came to help us. But if we didn't do well in the first event, if we didn't come through, if the food wasn't good enough, if the music wasn't great, then we
you wouldn't have a number 2.
Exactly.
But it got bigger each time.
Each time.
Each time. It's kind of, he's smiling. I know. But it's a nice feeling because you've worked really hard in the Bronx. To do this. In terms of who gets selected, people have reached out to you, and I'll tell you, there was a beer, there was a Bronx-made tequila that was there. I mean, and it's not for people to get drunk, but people to have a good time.
Exactly.
And the food was great. Tell me about who gets in. You talked about 80 to 85% are Bronx.
Well, anybody can submit online. You go to our website, it says www.thebronxnightmarket.com, and then you can submit yourself if you are a vendor, whether it's like food vendor or if it's anything else, non-food vendor. We then go to a strict policy that Amanda and I evaluate each vendors to see that they fit the branding styles.
Quality food.
Quality, that they have something in a price range that be acceptable. One of the things that we really stand for is like making sure that like all the price range are reasonable, because we want a $20 to go a long way. We want
Yeah, you could go in there and instead of spending $8 or $9 or $10, you're spending $3 or $5, so you can do this. And I love the kids are there. We see people old, young, every nationality. There's some of the footage that BLOXNYC has put together. One thing that you and I both appreciate, BronxNet has done a great job. BronxNet, and it says Bronx. People can go and they can get on TV.
Yeah.
They can speak. They can have their say. And some of the footage we've been running tonight is also from BronxNet.
I mean, BronxNet has been monumental in our success. You know, as far as like creating different packages, being over there in the site, on site. Just helping with the promotion of that. I mean, this is something that everybody needs to understand. This could not have happened anywhere else. No other borough. This could not have happened. The community came together and really made us come through, and we just feel blessed and humbled.
A quote from an old movie says, "My heart soars like a hawk."
Exactly.
When you say that, it could not have been anywhere else. And the people, when I walk through there, and you know me, I love to talk to people. When I talk to people, every neighborhood in the Bronx is represented. I got the people from the Northeast Bronx, people from the South Bronx. Somebody said I'm from Castle Hill. Yeah, I mean, I have to list our 62 neighborhoods. They're all there and relaxed, and it's families. They got the kid. They're giving the kid something in the carriage. Tremendous. So the next one, Amanda, you all right? I'm sorry we kind of abandoned you. You still with us?
Yeah, I'm still here.
You're looking forward to it? I was going to ask you your favorite, but you're not allowed to do that. Edible Bronx comes out when and how, and people should visit ediblebronx.com, right?
Yeah, our next issue comes out in 2 weeks, and we're really excited. It's our second anniversary issue. We've been published for 2 years.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we'll see you a week from Saturday night. So tonight is Thursday the 20th. We're looking 9 days. We're counting down to the next Bronx Night Market. And then when is the one after that?
October 27th.
The last, and that'll be the last. We'll wear a sweater that night. That'll be fun. And then for you, Marco, just wrap it up. I guess you're just inviting people to come and enjoy. Be the Bronx, man. That's what we want.
Just come, enjoy. Just tag us on Instagram at hashtag BX Night Market. Check our website. It's always updated, and just come and enjoy. That's what it's all about.
And to me, aside from the great food and the drink and everything else, the vibe is just so Bronx. Thank you so much for bringing us the Bronx Night Market. Continued great luck with BLOXNYC. Thank you to Amanda, and they're telling me to wave goodbye. I got a T-shirt out of it, and that's a nice thing. So that's it. We're saying goodnight. Say goodnight. We'll see you next time for the Bronx Buzz, and also on Bronx Talk this week, Councilmember Fernando Cabrera will talk about his trip to Puerto Rico on the sad anniversary of the hurricane down there. So we're going to do some serious stuff there. We'll see you. Good night. Good night.